Hello guys, welcome to my 2015 MLB predictions video. I released one earlier in 2014 which was pretty terrible, but now I have came up with ones that I think are pretty good predictions. So here we go. We'll start off with the NL. Go with NL East. We've got Washington winning the division, and then New York picking up a tiebreaker scenario. And we got, I think Atlanta are going to regress the next couple of years. They're losing heaps of their players, and that made them good, and they're just going to keep on regressing. Miami are going to start to get better. Giancarlo really helped them, and yeah, just trying to get into the years where they're going to at least get a playoff berth. Philadelphia are going to keep getting worse. So we move down to the Central. We've got St. Louis winning the division with 94 wins, and then Pittsburgh picking up their third wild card berth in 3 years. Milwaukee going for the tiebreaker against New York, as you can see up there. Chicago are going to play above 500. I was really hesitant with Chicago because people say they're going to at least be playoff potential. Well, you can't expect a team that has who's came fifth in their division for the last at least 5 years. So you can't automatically make them going to be number 3, number 2, or number 1. I think it'll be another at least 2 years before they make the playoffs again, and when they do, they're going to make a splash. In my opinion, Cincinnati are going to keep on getting worse, much like Philadelphia and Atlanta, mainly the Atlanta situation. They were good, but they're just, a lot of their players are getting older, and especially their play in 2014 was terrible. Especially I predicted that they were going to do a lot better in the first half than the second half, and they were just going to completely break it down in the second half, and it came true. So that was probably one of the only predictions that I had came true. And then we've got in the West, the NL West, we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers winning the division. San Francisco just playing better than they did in their last couple of odd years, but it's not going to be enough to carry them for a wildcard berth. San Diego are going to start to get better. Colorado and Arizona, they're going to be floating around down there, like going to be battling for the fifth. So they could go both ways. Arizona or Colorado could go both ways. Now moving up to the AL. We've got the AL East, Boston, who's going to win the division. Well, what is it? Well, this is a very hard division to predict because the Yankees are basically in the exact same position as they were last year. I thought they were going to at least go for a wild card or win the division slightly. But New York ended up, they played above 500 this last season, but they just didn't have enough to get them over the hump. And this is possibly going to be the one that everyone's going to be watching in awe, because I think all these teams are over 500 potential, and most of them are playoff potential, really. But I think I wrote it down that I said Toronto was going to come before Baltimore. Well, I think that's wrong. I'm going to swap those two around. It's going to be Baltimore, then Toronto. So Baltimore's going to get the wild card berth, in my opinion. So that's the AL East. Moving down to the AL Central, we've got the Kansas City winning the division. Detroit regressing backwards, as I think they will start to get worse each year. Chicago are going to start to get better each year. Cleveland are going to stay around the same point. In my opinion, I don't think their 2013 was a lucky year for them, but I don't think they can make the playoffs anytime soon again. In Minnesota, they're just Minnesota, so they're not going to get very far. And then in the West, we've got the Angels getting the number 1 seed. Seattle, in my opinion, are going to have a breakout year. They're going to make the playoffs, and they're going to go real far. I love what Seattle are doing. Seattle's one of my... I go for the Cardinals, but Seattle's also one of my favorite teams. I just love their franchise that they got going. Like, their whole lore and everything. Randy Johnson, Ichiro, Ken Griffey, and yeah, and then now they've got Nelson Cruz and Robinson Cano and Felix. They're set up to be a success as soon as Los Angeles. I think Los Angeles might have another 2016. They might win it again, but I seriously think Seattle are on the rise to win a World Series in the potential next 4 seasons. Oakland are going to be around the same point they were last year, but not enough to get a playoff berth. Texas, I'm really not sure about Texas. I don't think they will play over 500. I put that they will here, but I don't think they will. And then Houston are going to start to get better. Then they're not going to win the World Series in 2017. Give them a couple more years than that. Now we're moving on to the playoffs. Now before we go, I've got the tiebreaker. We've got Milwaukee versus New York Mets, and I think the Mets are going to beat the Milwaukee in the tiebreaker. Moving down to the NL, we've got the wild card game with the Mets and the Pirates. I believe that the Mets can beat the Pirates, and I think the Pirates can beat the Mets. In that game. And then we've got the division series with the Pirates and the Cardinals and the Dodgers and the Nationals. I think the Cardinals can beat the Pirates 3-1. They handled them in 2013 pretty well. They went 5 games, and I think they'll go shorter this time because the Cardinal team looks a lot stronger than it was in 2013, in my opinion. Besides, because we've got Jason Hayward, who I think is going to be a real big help to the team, defensively and offensively. Then we've got the Los Angeles Dodgers and the Washington Nationals, and I think the Nationals can beat the Dodgers in 5 games. Finally getting to their first ever franchise, the championship series, which now I'll move over to the American League. We've got the wild card being Seattle and Baltimore, not Toronto. I'm sorry about that. But I think Seattle can beat Toronto and move on against the Angels. Then we've got Boston and Kansas City. I really think Boston and Kansas City could go both ways, but I'm saying Boston because they've got a lot of guys who are experienced with the playoffs and are good in the playoffs, like Pablo Sandoval and Hanley Ramirez, and some of their new pitching that they've got, Wade Miley and Justin Masterson, which Justin Masterson can go both ways. He played for the Cardinals this year, and he had 1 good game out of the 7 he started. So hopefully he can be a little bit better for Boston. And then I think the Mariners can beat the Angels. So I think they've got Robinson Cano, who's won a World Series. We've got Nelson Cruz, who's played great in the playoffs, and he's really close to breaking the all-time home run record for the playoffs. And I think he only needs 3 more, and then he's the all-time home run record leader. So I think he can, especially with the Mariners, they're poised for success. I think he can. It's either him or Albert Pujols are going to take it. Albert and him are tied right now. I think it's 16. I think Nelson Cruz took over him, I think, because he did hit, I think, at least 1 or 2 home runs in the playoffs this year for the Baltimore. But I think maybe Pujols can, hopefully they'll have a little bit of a race with that. And then we've got the championship series, which I think Seattle, Boston can go either way, really, but I'm going to have Boston because more playoff potential, and I think it's Boston's chance. And then we've got St. Louis versus Washington. I think St. Louis can take Washington to 6 games and beat them. The Cardinals are going to go on to the 2013 World Series rematch, which I would also like to see a Seattle-St. Louis matchup, which would be a great matchup, but I think Boston will make it in this case. And then the 2015 World Champions are the St. Louis Cardinals. It's going to go 6 games, reverse favor. I think Boston have lost a lot of their pitching, which really held the Cardinals back during the 2013 World Series, and now since they've got players that St. Louis have beat up on before, I think they can really take advantage, and John Lackey will be a big part of that series in my opinion, especially playing against Boston, it'd be good if he closes the World Series in that one. I'd like to see that, and I'll be there watching it because I'm a baseball fan, but bigger than baseball, I like the Cardinals. And this might be biased, but I think if you even check the power rankings, the Cardinals are ranked 3rd or 2nd in the power rankings. Now, we've got the 2015 World Series champions, and MVP is going to be Matt Carpenter. So, thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe. And if you want me to do more like team breakdown predictions or things like that, I will try to do my best. So, see you guys.